Hi, I'm Amy Sweden and Equitable Access for All students. I know that there are several of you that probably did technology and teaching and how COVID has changed our perspectives of learning and student success. So I'm looking forward to reading some of those articles and papers as well. But what I did find interesting is that teachers across the state, and I can almost guarantee that it's across the nation as well, because I did interview a couple of teachers, not from this area, as a matter of fact, from North Carolina and Boston, Massachusetts. So they kind of had the same perspectives on education. But what we did find out, and this is in one of the articles that I have, is that hybrid learning, which is in class and online, so there's students are given the choice of a 2-day in-class instruction versus an all-week, or which would obviously be kind of catastrophic if a student did have or test positive for COVID or whatever. But it did provide instruction online. So, and the attention to the most vulnerable students in that hybrid learning environment is much more isolated for those particular students to increase their knowledge and accessibility. Another one survey that they did, and this is a different article, but a survey did, this particular one said that they've improved a lot on their technology skills, and that's promising for all students. Not only ones that are in this time frame with online learning, but in the future. And it's interesting that, an article that I had just kind of briefly read and noted was that there were colleges that had been transferring their content to online learning long before, like in 2000, they were initiating online classes to further facilitate learning and bringing in tuition dollars and graduates for that matter. But it did acknowledge that the workload of people on online classes is very high. As a matter of fact, it's almost 3 times the workload of somebody that was in a classroom setting. So if you look at it in that perspective, teachers are putting in more time in online classes than they are preparing for their classroom instruction. So the blended classroom or the hybrid classroom would be, teachers would be earning every dime, as we don't already, that's just bogus for me. But anyway, and finally, I encourage everyone in my group and in my class to join TCTA, which is the Texas Classroom Teachers Association. You get this wonderful magazine, The Classroom Teacher, and actually this one has an article, which I did use in my paper, what will classrooms look like in 2020? Because of COVID-19 and the impact of education. And there's a lot of information in these magazines and that they offer. This one particularly was talking about teacher perspective, not necessarily parent perspective or admin perspective, but this is teacher perspective and their concerns for students and their successes, not necessarily their pay or their training, but they're concerned about the students and their well-being, because there's a distance between the screen and someone else in front of you. If you had a teacher and a student relationship and the student is sitting next to you, you can tell if that kid is behaviorally exhibiting stress or angst to the lesson, so that you can adjust and modify that content at the time. So it would be time sensitive adjustments, as opposed to online instruction. You can't tell if a child on the other side of the screen is frustrated or hungry or tired. You can just tell that they're not completing their assignments or turning them in on time. So you can't. The concerns are not only that, but if parents are going to be supportive in that instruction. And what's interesting, the last one I'm going to throw up here was from commonsense.org. Yeah. It gives you how to get the most out of your tech in the classroom. Now, this article was written in November, so it was prior to any of this mess even coming on at such a force that it has. But it has a lot of useful techniques in grouping students safely in order to get a better perspective for the students to understand and still maintain that safe distance as well. So not only that, it does comply with all the laws and regulations, sharing devices, and it addresses that because 70% of students in Title I schools are sharing devices within their family units so that they can get their education or their lessons completed. So my paper basically addressed the technology issue in low-income families, and the majority of the students that I serve come from low-income families. As a matter of fact, I think I sadly just had one death reported in a previous student family, and that's just it's unfortunate, very unfortunate, and I'm very sad for them. And I look to that as being an earmark for change in how we handle things at the school and classroom level. So I hope that you enjoy and get some information out of my paper. I did put some resources for teacher professional development and some technology resources for free or possibly even donated items for your classrooms. So I hope that you are able to link up with that and maybe it works out for you. It's been a pleasure. Have a great afternoon. Thanks.